The jury members leave the room. They will leave first of all, and then if Jack Ruby is found guilty, he will be escorted from the courtroom. Of course, if he is found innocent, then he will be a free man and can remain in the courtroom so long as anyone else does. This trial got underway on the 10th day of February as a change of venue hearing. Here comes Jack Ruby into the courtroom, escorted by the human shield of sheriff's deputies. He will come back around again and sit down. There you will see him. There is Jack Ruby being seated. Judge Joe Brown is on the bench. And we expect the sound from the courtroom to pick up momentarily. When it does, we will go to the courtroom for the activity there. Judge Brown on the bench, 30 years on the bench in Dallas. A candidate for office 14 times, elected 14 times, never defeated. He ran 6 times without opposition. He is running at this moment without opposition.
Yeah.
Judge Joe B. Brown, Joe Brantley Brown. His son is a justice of the peace in Dallas. Like father, like son. Apparently copies of the charge to the jury. Judge Brown placing on that clipboard at the present time, that pitcher of water that he has gone to from time to time. The jury box is situated, as you look at this particular scene, off to camera right or to the left of Judge Brown as he is facing the camera. The shot widens now, and you will probably see entering from that door just to the right, behind, that's the bailiff standing there, Bo Mabra. He is the male bailiff. There is also a
now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm
here is Judge Brown.
About to receive the verdict in the case style of the state of Texas versus Jack Ruby. I want no sort of demonstration, no sound, no gesturing of any kind. Sheriff, would you bring the jury in, please? When I finish, everybody will remain seated until I officially discharge the jury and release the court.
Members of the jury filing in now. That's Bo Mabra, the male bailiff, with his back to us. Mrs. McCollum going by now. They will occupy the 6 seats on the rear. This jury is made up 8 men and 4 women, average age 39.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have reached a verdict in this case. May I have it, Sheriff, please?
There is the verdict. Bo Mabra handing it to the judge.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder with malice as charged in the indictment and assess his punishment at death. Signed, Max E. Causey, Foreman. So say you all, ladies and gentlemen. Is that your unanimous verdict? Will all of you whose verdict that is, please hold up your right hands. All right, Sheriff, he's your prisoner.
May I thank this jury for a victory for victory.
Keep your seats, please. There'll be no moving out. Don't let anybody out of the courtroom.
Every one of these words that we will appeal this to a court where there is justice and do not violate law.
Jack Ruby has just been sentenced to death in a Dallas courtroom for the shooting of Lee Harvey Oswald, the accused assassin of President Kennedy. Very shortly, Ruby will be coming out this door just outside the courtroom. Sheriff deputies
now,
forming a human phalanx.
You may be retired to the jury room. You are officially excused.
The judge has just excused the jury.
Officially discharged.
Sheriff Bill Decker. Now, out he goes. There goes Jack Ruby back to his jail cell. He has been assessed the maximum penalty. He has been found guilty of murder with malice and has been sentenced to death in the electric chair. Jack Ruby has just been found guilty of murder with malice and has been sentenced to death in the electric chair. And now court has adjourned as the reporters break out to tell their stories. Maximum penalty for Jack Ruby, death in the electric chair. The jury of 8 men, 4 women, the crush of the press outside now. The jury of 8 men and 4 women deliberated 2 hours and 25 minutes, found Ruby guilty of murder with malice, and gave him death in the electric chair. Jack Ruby has been found guilty of murder with malice and has been sentenced to death in the electric chair. This verdict returned Dallas time at 12:23 on this 14th day of March. Inside the courtroom, short deliberation by the jury, 2 hours, 25 minutes. And Jack Ruby has been sentenced to death in the electric chair, the maximum penalty.
All right, get up on the table. Melvin Belli here is addressing the newsman, giving his opinion on the decision.
The public relations officer for the court wanted a conviction in this case, regardless of due process of law or any other kind of law. Last night in the newspaper, the district attorney said that he would be satisfied with a long term because he knew that he hadn't proved a death penalty. This jury wasn't concerned, even with listening to us. They had their minds made up.
Mr. Belli, we're being prevented from getting this on camera. Could you, Mr. Belli, could you, yes, for the cameras. All right, we're being prevented from getting a clean shot of you, Mr. Belli.
Practicing law if we don't reverse this and make these people of Dallas ashamed of themselves.
What's your next step, Mr. Belli?
Appeal.
Where?
Appeal. Today.
Mr. Belli, I don't like to make you repeat this, but the live camera just got here a few moments ago.
Railroad? This is a kangaroo railroad. And every one of you know it, too.
What's your...
I hope the people of Dallas are proud of this jury that was shoved down our throat. One juror, before he sat on that jury, told his employee that if he got on the Ruby jury, he'd vote the death penalty. Another juror waved at the policeman when they were on the witness stand. Her nephew does the public relations work for the police department.
How do you feel about Judge Brown? How do you think he handled the case? Mr. Belli, your opinion on Judge Brown?
He went down the line for every motion that the district attorney made, and they led him into some 30 errors. And every Texas jurist knows this thing was the greatest railroading kangaroo court disgrace in the history of American law.
They disregarded your entire psychiatric case?
They disregard every bit of our psychiatric testimony. They disregarded every witness who was sworn. And you heard last night when those jurors looked at us and said, we don't want to have any argument. We've had our mind made up. Now, that was a nod when the judge said, do you want to go ahead? They didn't even want recess. Why, in a civilized country in the heart of darkest Africa, you wouldn't argue a man's life starting at 12 o'clock in the morning. When I think we're coming into Holy Week and Good Friday to have a sacrifice like this, I think we're back 2,000 years. And the blight that's on Dallas with those 12 people who announced a death penalty in this case, they'll make this a city of shame forevermore. And I'm going to participate in it, too, when I write this appeal.
Mr. Belli, Mr. Tannehill, your associate is a Texan. What's your reaction to it?
It's a violent miscarriage of justice.
Anything else to add to that, Mr. Tannehill?
I'm about to throw up.
Well, what did Jack say after the verdict?
Said to come up and see me. He says that every time he leaves.
Did he say anything else? I mean,
No, I think that he didn't get the full impact of it. Yeah.
you're going to Austin to file an appeal today, is that right?
Just as fast as we can.
You're going to Austin directly from here?
I don't know. I'm going to get out of here and see Jack, and then we're going to start our appeal forthwith.
Are you going up to see him now?
Yeah.
What can you tell him?
We'll determine that when we get up there.
Predict a long legal battle here, Mr. Belli?
Do what?
Predict a real long legal battle here?
Now, once we get our appeal filed, I think the points are crystal clear, and we wouldn't have any problem with an appellate court on this
How
case.
many errors?
District Attorney Henry Wade on the steps of the Dallas County Criminal Courts building, where death in the electric chair has just been assessed as punishment for Jack Ruby for the murder of Lee Harvey Oswald.
What's your reaction, Mr. Wade?
Well, from the start, when this happened, I thought it was a case where he should have the death penalty. I've said that all along, told the jury that, and we asked...
Henry Wade, the district attorney.
And we asked for it. I think the facts fully warranted. I think it was an assassination in itself of a man handcuffed in police custody, and I think it went actually deeper than that, than who the person was killed. I think it was more of a, you might say, a murder or killing of our government by law rather than men. I think it actually is a step, it even advances civilization quite a bit, I believe, by this verdict. That's my theory.
How does it advance civilization?
Well, not guilty, I think, would have put it back toward barbarianism or lynch law of each individual citizen deciding who should be killed or who shouldn't be killed.
Mr. Wade, were you surprised at the rather quick decision by the jury?
Well, last night, I wasn't satisfied with my argument to the jury at all and felt awful low about it last night. When the verdict came in within a little over 2 hours, I thought we had either life or death. I didn't know which.
Mr. Wade, Mr. Belli referred to this as railroading and the biggest disgrace in the history of American law.
I think that's his fugue state he's talking about. The way I saw him yelling and screaming up there, I believe it's the first time he ever lost a case. From the way he talks.
Do you feel some sense of satisfaction of having won this case?
Well, I guess anybody that wins any case, you go ask a jury to return a certain verdict and they return it. I'm very well satisfied with it and think it was the proper verdict.
What does this jury verdict coming so quickly signify?
I don't think it actually signifies anything. See, we've had death penalties in 7 minutes here in Dallas. This was over 2 hours. I think it signified that the jury, by the evidence, that had pretty well made up their mind whether that he wasn't insane, that he was sane, and had pretty well thought about this during the night and didn't take them long to deliberate to arrive at the verdict.
Mr. Wade, prior to the verdicts, you had said numerous times that you expected anything from acquittal to death in the electric chair. Did you really feel this way, sir, or was that just a statement for the press?
Well, I didn't think the acquittal or a term of years was the proper verdict in the thing, but I've tried a lot of cases, and I know juries can do nearly anything. I think we got to the jury in a lot better shape on the facts than we were really entitled to. They pitched their whole case on insanity and made a weak case on it, and rather than asking for mercy or leniency. And so the jury probably subconsciously got the idea it's either insanity or death.
Were there any major surprises for you?
Mr. Wade, how would you have defended Jack Ruby?
Well, I don't defend any here, but I think I would have tried to go for leniency rather than all out on insanity.
Were there any major surprises?
all along, sir, that the judge ruled for the prosecution all the way down the line. Could we get your reaction to that, sir?
Of course, if he ruled for us when he shouldn't, the higher courts will reverse the case and send it back. All that'll be on appeal.
This is the 25th murder case you have won, isn't it, Mr. Wade?
Yes, about that many, I believe. 24, 25.
Which was the hardest?
Well, I know this was I know I was the tiredest in this one last night. I was utterly fatigued to the extreme last night.
Mr. Wade, you say you were tired. The jurors were obviously tired. The defendant was. Do you think that this move along attitude of the case had any effect whatsoever on the verdict, or at least on how fast it came out, sir?
Well, I think the jury, as they hear each witness, they make up their mind or start forming a frame of mind of whether they think he's guilty and what they're going to do with him. And I think they've been up there 4 weeks now, some of them have, and the testimony's been going on now 10 days, I believe. And I think the length of the trial makes the verdict a little easier for the jury, quicker for the jury to arrive at.
Mr. Wade, this trial had more press coverage perhaps than any other in history. Did this put you under a particular strain in trying the case?
No, not that I know of. We've had press coverage on others, not to this extent here, but we're used to having press around.
Mr. Wade, what do you, in retrospect, consider the best item of evidence or testimony that you had in the trial, sir?
Well, by far, the testimony that gave him the electric chair was the officer's testimony, showing premeditation, that he decided to kill the man, or talked about, or thought about killing him 2 days before, then took a gun, loaded gun, into the police station and assassinated him as it was seen on television. And then the statements he made thereafter with reference to, I hope I killed the SOB, and I meant to shoot him 3 times, but y'all stopped me. Things of that kind is the type of thing that would give people a death penalty.
Mr. Wade, what do you plan to do now? Go right to work again on Monday, or do you plan a vacation?
Well, I'm going to try to catch up. See, I have I'm behind in all of my work in my office. As a matter of fact, I have over a week's dictation of answering some letters, not on this case, but on other matters from the regular routine of the office.
Mr. Wade, do you regard the outcome of this trial as a vindication of Dallas?
I don't think Dallas, I don't think that was, Mr. Belli wanted that to be the thing. I don't think Dallas was on trial. I don't think I was on trial. I don't think Belli was on trial. I think Jack Ruby was on trial. I think it was a murder case that had more implications probably than the ordinary killing, because of the fact you're killing a man handcuffed that's innocent until he's proven guilty. And I think that's what made this a different case from the ordinary murder case.
Mr. Wade, was this an expensive case, or perhaps the most expensive case that you have worked on as far as the county of Dallas is concerned?
I don't know what it cost. From our point of view, I think all of our doctors and all the travel in the case was something around $3,500. Many of our doctors were willing to come at their own expense. I think we're going to pay them a minimum fee of $100 a day while they were here.
How is it that you were able to secure the services of some rather noted people who previously had not been expected to appear?
We just checked and found out who the outstanding authorities in the field of neurology and encephalograph and psychiatry and brought them in here. We brought in 2 other top psychiatrists out of New York and asked Ruby talked to him, and he wouldn't talk to him on advice of his lawyer, and we didn't get to use them. They were willing to testify, but they didn't talk to him but 5 minutes.
Mr. Wade, did you add any of these doctors after seeing some of the defense testimony? Did you add doctors at the last minute?
No, we took this encephalogram around to all these doctors a month ago and let them examine it. Dr. Swab and Dr. Forrester and Dr. McKay and Dr. Walker and Dr. Calloway, they've all seen this about a month
Repeating
ago.
that verdict, Jack Ruby has been found guilty of murder with malice and has been sentenced to death.
Pay any attention to the psychiatric testimony.
Henry Wade outside the Dallas County Courthouse now talking with reporters.
On this point, sir.
I think the jury listened to all of it. I think I've tried a number of cases where they had psychiatry as a defense, and I will say that I thought they put up as weak a psychiatric defense if I've ever seen.
Do you consider this one of your greatest legal victories?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a victory for me. It's a victory for all law enforcement, I think. My old staff worked on it.
How many on your staff worked on it, sir?
I had about 10 or 12 that worked on it.
said it was a victory for the Dallas oligarchy. What do you say about that?
Well, of course, that's a figment of his imagination, the oligarchy here. They, like any town, they have some leaders here that try to help out on civic matters, but politically and otherwise, independents and everybody else are elected here.
Mr. Wade, if you would look back over the entire last 3 months or so, all of the events, and the long testimony of this trial, what would you describe as the legal significance of this verdict?
Well, I think, it's a little hard to say. I've been very happy that I've received letters and from defense attorneys all over the country. Ordinarily, they're on the side of the defendant, giving advice on what ought to be done and arguments, because they said we think the rule of law is actually on trial in that case. I'm inclined to think it was to some extent. I may exaggerate it, because in any murder case, if the deceased is a person of bad character or some reason maybe that he ought to have been disposed of, it's hard to get a verdict. But I think the jury recognized that this was more than just killing a person, that if he was the assassin, if he had killed Kennedy, should have had the electric chair. I'm talking about Oswald. I think that this went deeper than that, because you had a man that took the law into his own hands and killed a handcuffed man that was innocent until he is proven guilty.
Mr. Wade, as far as you personally are concerned, does the sentence just passed here close the events that began on November 22nd as far as you are concerned?
Well, it'll close it. We have to now start on the next 2 or 3 years. This thing will be in the appellate courts. See, this will be appealed. The law, Texas law requires the Court of Criminal Appeals to hear any death penalty. It'll first go there, and we hope we'll have to do lots of briefing on it. We'll have to argue it there. Then it can go to the United States Supreme Court, which we'll have to be ready to argue it there. And I think it'll be in the appellate courts for 2 years anyhow, and I have specialists in that that'll do most of that work.
Mr. Wade, something that has been bothering a lot of people was the question of whether or not there was any link whatsoever between Jack Ruby and Lee Oswald. This wasn't clarified in court. Could you clarify it for us?
Well, it's one of those things that you can't prove. As a matter of fact, if we had anybody that we thought could establish it, we'd put them on the stand. I will say we had 10 or 12 witnesses that were willing to testify that they had seen them together, but I didn't believe any of the witnesses. Some of them were given lie detectors and showed they weren't telling the truth. And there's nothing, we had nothing where we could legally prove that he was.
As far as you are concerned, then, from your investigation, Ruby was acting alone and Oswald was acting alone.
That's the theory we tried the case on entirely. We had no, whether there was a connection or not, we don't know. We have no proof of it, and we assume that there was not.
Mr. Wade, you have testified before the Warren Commission.
Well, I don't know. I asked for it and was satisfied with it.
You have already testified once before the Warren Commission. Do you feel that the verdict in today's case, or the trial, in fact, would lead them to recall you? Do you have any further information to pass along to them?
Well, they've been holding up some matters, I think, dealing with Ruby till after this trial was over, that they may go into now. I don't know. If they are, we will help them any way we can.
How much help was the FBI to you in preparing this case?
Well, the way they helped was in interviewing all witnesses that knew anything about him, and we were able to go over some of their statements and get what they told the FBI.
Can you give us an indication, sir, just what the disposition of the defendant will be now, where he will...
He will remain in the county jail until all of his appeals are over, at which time he will be taken to Huntsville, and at that time they will have a hearing before Governor Connolly as to whether or not to commute his sentence to life.
And he could
Jack Ruby has been sentenced to death in the electric chair in Dallas after a
years.
jury deliberation of
Couple
2
years.
hours and 25 minutes. This is District Attorney
Have you
Henry
had
Wade,
death
Chief
sentences
Prosecutor, on the
reversed?
steps of the Dallas County Courthouse now.
We've had cases reversed, but I don't believe there's been a death penalty. None that I recall now.
Mr. Wade, during
I
the...
think my office has had one that I recall that I didn't try. Someone else tried, and it was reversed.
You have never had a death penalty reversed yourself.
I wouldn't say that. I don't really remember of any, but I might. We've had plenty of cases reversed.
Mr. Wade, during the testimony, the pre-expert testimony, the subject of the convulsive finger on the pistol came up so many times. How significant do you feel that was or wasn't?
I don't think it had one thing to do with it. As a matter of fact, don't think the encephalogram had anything to do with it. I think all that testimony was window dressing.
Thank you very much.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Thanks, Henry.
Judge Brown is going downstairs now. He'll be walking out front where we just saw District Attorney Henry Wade. And we'll see if the judge will have a statement. Judge Brown told me last night at 1:30 in the morning he's going to take a nice long trip after this trial. Judge Joe B. Brown.
No, sir, I have no comment about anything.
Is Mr. Belli welcome back in Texas courts?
For my court, he's welcome anytime.
Are you perfectly satisfied with the functioning of the juries?
Well, I have no complaint about anything.
Are you glad it's over?
Yes, sir, I'm awfully glad it's over.
Where are you heading for now, Judge Brown?
I
Some rest?
wouldn't know. Just some rest, yeah.
I think they're one you out in front there.
Now, District Attorney Henry Wade is here with Judge
Now,
Brown.
you talk with him.
Judge Brown, how do you feel when it's over?
I'm glad.
Judge Brown is extremely anxious to get out of here, a trying ordeal for him. Now heading out the side door, perhaps home and some rest. Well, scene of wild confusion here in the courthouse. In the courtroom immediately after the trial, we leaped up from the tables trying to get a clean shot of Mr. Belli, who was quite distracted by the verdict. In fact, Mr. Belli now is upstairs seeing Jack Ruby. After we spoke to him a short while ago, he said, I must go see Jack, I must talk to him, but I will be back down and talk to you after I have seen him. That's about it from inside the courthouse. Now let's go back outside to Murphy Martin.
Outside the courthouse now, I think the reporters are trying to get Judge Brown to come back out and have a short statement or short interview with the judge. Maybe he sees Murphy Martin standing at the top of the steps, ready to talk with His Honor if Judge Brown does permit this. Repeating, Jack Ruby has been found guilty of murder with malice and has been given the maximum penalty, death in the electric chair. And now here is
Judge
Murphy
Joey
Martin.
Brown has just gone into Sheriff Bill Decker's office here. We expect him on the steps of the Dallas County Criminal Courts building momentarily. And when he does arrive here, we will see if we can get additional comments from him. Also, Melvin Belli and Joe Tannehill are expected out momentarily. They were still in the courtroom a few moments ago. Jack Ruby, the defendant who has been adjudged guilty and sentenced to death in the electric chair, has been returned to his cell here at the Dallas County Criminal Courts building. Judge Brown still in Sheriff Bill Decker's office. Sheriff Decker and his more than 50 men on duty this morning for security purposes here at the trial. Very few spectators were in the courtroom, but many, many members of the press were there as Max Causey, 35-year-old foreman of the jury, said yes in answer to the question from Judge Brown, have you reached a verdict? He handed the charge and the vote of the jury to the bailiff, Bo Mabra, who in turn handed it to Judge Joe B. Brown, and the verdict was read. Guilty, death in the electric chair. And so, Jack Ruby now knows his fate, but as District Attorney Henry Wade said a moment ago, you can expect this case to be in the appellate courts for some time to come. Melvin Belli has indicated throughout proceedings, which began here on February 10th, that he was, in fact, building a record for the appellate courts. He never once changed that, continually saying many reversible errors were present in the trial as it occurred here beginning back on February 10th. Close to 5,000 pages of testimony were taken in this trial. 117 witnesses testified on the stand. The proceedings lasted for some 34 days, and Judge Joe B. Brown was on the stand for all but one of those days. One day, Judge J. Frank Wilson was on the bench when Judge Brown was suffering from a heavy chest cold. However, he was out for only one day and then right back in. There is a tremendous crowd of people across the street from the Dallas County Criminal Courts building. They have been kept away from this particular side of the street today unless they had business here. We would estimate that something like 300 or 400 people are standing directly across the street in front of the Criminal Courts building. And in case you did not know, just around the corner to our right is the textbook depository where this eerie series of events began back on the 22nd day of November. Judge Joe B. Brown now making his way toward the entrance to the Dallas County Criminal Courts building with the overcoat and the ever-familiar pipe. Here is a man who did not get much rest last night. We will talk to him.
I think the networks fell down on me this morning. There was an agreement there'd be no cameras in that courtroom, except the one television camera. When I went in to take, after I went and took the verdict and walked out and came back in, there were all networks in there. Everybody was in there with a camera. I don't like that. I think if we make an agreement, and I made an agreement with you all, you should have kept it.
How do you feel that the agreement that was made with the networks was broken, sir?
Well, they were all in there when I went back in there, Murphy.
Sir, that was after the court had been adjourned.
The court was adjourned then, was it not?
And it was agreed that there'd be no live televisions in the courtroom at any time.
Judge, Mr. Belli said that you were aware that a juror had made a statement that he would give Jack Ruby the death penalty even before he was selected.
No, sir. No, sir, I was not.
Had either Mr. Belli or the reporter told you anything about that?
The reporter told me something about it last week, but
Judge Brown, you plan to rest for
I
a
didn't
while
know
now?
about it, yes. Overall, Nelson, I don't mean to complain. I'm not a griper. I've been in public office too long. And I guess perhaps I shouldn't criticize you all for what you did, because overall you did a wonderful job, and I appreciate it a very great deal. And perhaps your zeal got away this morning. I don't know. I wasn't here. They woke me up when the verdict came in, or when the jury was ready. And I got up and showered and came on down here, and everything went off fine. Except, you remember the agreement was we would cut the television off as soon as I left the bench. The network live television, and it wasn't cut off. Somebody called me on the telephone and told me they were still televising the courtroom scene. Then I went back and asked the operator, is that what you call him? The engineer or whatever he is that operates the machine to cut it off, and he did.
May we get you to, sir, discuss the verdict just a little
No,
bit?
sir, I wouldn't discuss the verdict at all.
Can you tell us where the case may go from here, sir?
Well, the only place it can go is the Court of Criminal Appeals.
Have you heard any motions for appeal yet,
No,
sir?
sir, I have not.
Judge Brown, when will you
hear those, Judge Brown?
Well, sometime within 40 days.
And when will you sentence the defendants?
Oh, I won't sentence him until the appeals have all been exhausted and he...
Were you surprised at the quick call this morning? Less than 2.5 hours of deliberation. Aren't you surprised at anything
I'm
anymore?
not surprised at anything a jury will do.
Judge Brown, there were 139 different objections raised by the defense counsel, were there not? Did you accede to any of these at all?
Yes, sir. Some of them were good.
How many did you grant?
Oh, I don't know. I think perhaps 4 or 5 out of the 139.
Judge, Mr. Belli has been making quite a point of this information which a reporter told you that one juror had made a statement. Do you feel that that's a reversible error or anything like that?
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Mr. Belli credits me with some things that I haven't heard yet.
He contends, sir, that you constantly
There's a hand
rude.
clap.
You want my pipe?
What got you back again? Well, I contend, Judge Brown, that you constantly rude.
Which one, Wes?
With the wrapper on.
The other one.
This one? Let Wes have your mic with her.
Judge Brown, Mr. Belli contended after the trial that you constantly ruled for the prosecution. You have something to say on this?
I really have nothing to say, actually. You know what a struggle it is in the courtroom. Mr. Belli did his utmost to represent his client. So did Mr. Tonnehill. And I have no complaint of Mr. Belli and Mr. Tonnehill. I think they're both fine lawyers. And I think Mr. Belli is one of the most brilliant attorneys that's ever appeared in my court. And I was glad to have him. And I think a great deal of him as a lawyer and as a man. And I have no complaint against Mr. Belli. I think he's probably in the throes of an emotional state now himself. And I think he's a fine man. And he's welcome back any time in my courtroom he wants to try a case.
Do do you think that all in all this was a fair and impartial trial?
I wouldn't make any comment about that. The court upstairs will decide that. If there's something done wrong, then the appellate court will rectify it. You may depend upon that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I've tried it to the best of my
Judge
ability.
Joe B. Brown, outside the courtroom,
Yes, sir?
where Jack Ruby has just been sentenced to death in the electric chair for the murder of Lee Harvey
Well,
Oswald.
Not with that many TV cameras and so forth.
No, I've never seen a case covered from a news media standpoint that this case has had.
Was that your
But I'm-
saying get the cameras out of the court?
It could have been, Mr. Wise. I asked somebody to remove the cameras. I think I asked the sheriff's office to remove the cameras from the courtroom.
Judge, they were yelling tonight about some juror who's alleged to have said something about he was going to...
I don't know. Mr. Belli made mention of that, and I'm not...
Hey, Murphy.
I heard a week or 10 days ago that one of the jurors made some statement, but I don't know when or where, under what circumstances. I'm sure... No, I didn't do anything about it. That's hearsay with me.
If it had been proved, Judge, would that have been a reason for a mistrial?
I doubt it, seriously. I don't know. I don't know any of the facts and circumstances surrounding it at all. A statement might have been made, might not have been made. You know how things start. Rumors, all sorts of rumors go around. As you newspapermen well ought to know. But Mr. Belli, of course, has a right to his opinion. And I wouldn't say anything here that to try to justify my own.
Thank you very
Because
much.
I did the best I knew how, and I called them like I saw them. And that's all any judge can do.
Tell us, sir, why you changed your mind about the live radio coverage, or that is the live radio broadcasting of your charge and the arguments to the jury last night. Were you under some pressure from the so-called oligarchy or anybody else?
No, sir, I have not. The so-called oligarchy did not call me, nor did any member of the Citizens Council, nor any member of any bar association. I did it on my own, and I will accept the responsibility for it.
Are you surprised at the verdict, Judge?
Are you?
He wants you to look around at a picture.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge Brown. Judge Joe B. Brown, who has been on the bench here throughout the proceedings of the Jack Ruby trial. Immediately behind Judge Brown inside the building is Assistant District Attorney Bill Alexander. We expect him at our vantage point shortly.
Judge Joe B. Brown has just talked briefly with reporters outside the Dallas County Courthouse, where just moments ago, a jury of 8 men and 4 women found Jack Ruby guilty of murder with malice and assessed the maximum penalty in Texas, which is death in the electric chair. Defense attorney Melvin Belli, in a loud voice, screamed out, "Appeal, appeal, today." The jury deliberated this morning for 2 hours and 25 minutes before returning their verdict. Sessions last night went until 8 minutes past 1 o'clock Dallas time. The jury this morning asked to be awakened at 7 o'clock. They went out, were awakened, had breakfast, came back in, started deliberating at 9:10, and elected as their foreman Max Causey, who was the first juror to be selected weeks ago. This trial began on February 10th and has ended on a sunny Saturday afternoon, March 14th, here in Dallas, Texas. Jack Ruby was sentenced to death for the murder of Lee Harvey Oswald, 1 block away from the site where President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. ABC reporters Murphy Martin and Ed Silverman have been reporting here from the Dallas County Courthouse. This is Bob Walker reporting for Wfaa-Tv in Dallas and ABC Television.
To the Dallas County Courthouse for more developments on the Jack Ruby verdict.
This is Bob Walker at the Dallas County Courthouse once again. We're now going to take you to our Communications Center studios where Joe Graham is standing by for an exclusive interview with Mrs. Marguerite Oswald. Joe?
Mrs. Oswald, the jury has now returned its verdict. They have found the man who was accused of murdering your son, Lee Harvey, guilty of murder with malice and have assessed his punishment at death. Just what do you think of this verdict?
I feel sure that the jury has come to this verdict honestly. However, I do not believe in capital punishment. I have made this statement prior to the verdict. I would like to see Jack Ruby have life imprisonment without parole. I'm going to express my opinion in this way. Thou shalt not kill. I know this is the law, but I am thinking of Jack Ruby's family and of Jack Ruby as a human being. His punishment in life imprisonment may do some good for all of us. He may then have an opportunity to realize what he has done to our nation, depriving our nation, our America, of the truth of the assassination of President Kennedy. This is why my son was murdered, because he was the accused assassin of President Kennedy.
Mrs. Oswald, with that verdict in, I wonder if you will continue your fight and your own personal investigation.
Yes. Now that the Ruby trial is at an end, I am going to work much harder to prove my son's innocence. I have an opinion on the Ruby case. I believe that Jack Ruby was a paid killer to close the mouth of my son, Lee Harvey Oswald.
Well, Mrs. Oswald, we all noticed that you were not in court during the trial. How did that come about? Had you intended to attend?
No. I returned from New York Monday night, and on Tuesday I put in a call to Sheriff Bill Decker asking to be a spectator at the morning session, and my plans were to leave Dallas that afternoon. However, upon arriving at the courthouse, I was given a subpoena. I was very delighted, really, about the subpoena. I was surprised, I will say, because to me it was an injustice the way the subpoena was given to me. I had never refused to testify. Matter of fact, I wanted to testify because on November 23rd, the Saturday after the assassination, an FBI agent showed me a picture and asked me if I knew this man, and I said, no, believe me, I do not.
And who did that turn out to be, Mrs. Oswald?
This was a picture of Jack Ruby.
Mrs. Oswald, thank you very much for your opinion at this time. And now back to the Dallas County Courthouse.
Thank you, Joe, for that interview with Mrs. Marguerite Oswald on her reactions to this verdict that Jack Ruby, the man who shot Lee Harvey Oswald in the morning of November 24th, 1963, has just been found guilty of murder with malice and has been given the maximum sentence, death in the electric chair, after the jury deliberated 2 hours and 25 minutes. This is Bob Walker reporting from the Dallas County Courthouse. We now return you to our Communication Center studios and our regular program.
Use butter. Now these hard-cooked eggs, and I'll turn them up on top so that you can see, have been cut in large chunks, and then they have been put in a cream sauce. And the cream sauce is made of 6 tablespoons of margarine and 6 tablespoons of flour and 3 cups of milk and 2 teaspoons of salt. Could I have a little plate and we'll put some of this out so that we can have a tester on this. And then we also have added 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, which gives the eggs a little bit different flavor. Now, I'd suggest this for a supper dish, and you use just the hard-cooked eggs and then chop them up in sort of large pieces, as you can see, because you want to know what you're eating. Men like to know what they're eating. And so this is the large pieces here. You dice the hard-cooked egg, and you add the white sauce, and you put them in a 2-quart casserole, and you sprinkle 2 tablespoons of additional grated Parmesan cheese over the top of it. Bake it in a 350-degree oven for 30 to 35 minutes, and it will serve 8 to 10 people. I would suggest a green salad that might go along with this, and a light dessert if you're eating desserts, and you might have some hot French bread, or you might have some brown and served rolls, or whatever you want to have. Baked eggs au gratin, and I think that you'll love it. That's our Centura. Now this little group of meats bears the name of Hormel. Hormel is probably one of the best known of all the meat processing companies, and certainly one of the oldest in the country. I want to show you. You remember how difficult it always has been to store luncheon meats before in your refrigerator? In a space of 4 square inches, you can store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 23 Hormel luncheon meats altogether. Some of them are round, like the bologna, of course, and this is in the new pack. It's called the new reseal pack. This has a rigid back to it, and it has a rigid polyethylene top to it, a plastic top to it, and it's called Hormel's Reseal Pack. This is the pack that stays fresher in your meat counter and also stays fresher when you take it home, because what you do, you take a hold of this little plastic tab right here. You can hear it. I doubt if you can see it because it's plain plastic. And you take a hold of that and you pull up on it like this. And as you pull up on it, you break the vacuum seal to this luncheon meat of Hormel's. And then you take off the little slip of paper which says Hormel's, because you probably never will forget it. It's the only luncheon meat that is packed in this way. And you turn around to Ed and you say, how would you like to have some wonderful olive loaf for a sandwich? And then you give him 2 slices. Or you give your little boy 2 slices of olive loaf. Then you yourself take it and reseal this pack by simply pressing it around the edge like this. And you have resealed that pack so that it stays fresh longer in your refrigerator. Now, I can guarantee you double refrigerator life with this, because we have tried it out. But see how handy it is, and see how wonderful it is to know that this is an olive loaf, and that this is cooked ham, and this is luncheon meat, and this is bologna, instead of having to look through a lot of little silver nuggets of silver foil and coming up with some odds and ends of this and that, and maybe it's been in there too long and probably spoiled. So remember that Hormel has done it for you with the cooperation of the American Can Corporation, and they have developed this beautiful new reseal pack, which you will find in the meat counter of all your grocery stores. I hope indeed you'll try it, because I think it's one of the greatest that I've ever seen. And remember that it saves you wonderful refrigerator space too. I think this is going to chart the way for all packaging of luncheon meats from now on.
Okay. Well, all right.
Put it over there. You can put it back in the refrigerator if you want to. Our other recipe of the day is an almond applesauce bread. And it's a very simple one, and it makes 1 loaf, and as you know, tea bread is always much better the second day, because what you do with this, you take a piece of foil, and you wrap this in a piece of foil, and the moisture gathers in it, like this. And tomorrow that bread will be much softer and will be much more palatable than it is today. Of course, we can't possibly wait. Tomorrow, we can't wait until tomorrow. I know you're going to eat it today, but I'm just showing our friends that the second day for a tea bread is always the best. So the almond applesauce loaf is also one of our recipes of the day, and it's a very simple one to put together, and it bakes in a 350-degree oven for 1 hour, so there's no problem at all. Use toasted almonds on the top, and it makes a very festive one. I like tea breads. I think they're great. Let's talk about O.J.'s Beauty Lotion for just a minute, because O.J.'s Beauty Lotion is a time-tested product. It's been on the market since 1903, and it has a magnificent record of accomplishment, because it not only is a clean, clear liquid, it has a slightly astringent effect to it when you apply it with a pad of cotton. This is what we call a deep cleansing. It's refreshing, and it's a deep cleansing, and it's a quick cleanser too. And it's wonderful for surface skin discolorations or surface skin blemishes. So may I suggest that when you shop today at your grocery store, or when you shop at your hardware, at your variety store, or at your drugstore, pick up a bottle of O.J.'s Beauty Lotion, because it is available wherever you might be shopping. Now we have a cake over here, which I completely forgot about our cake server and put it on a cake stand, one of our imperial cake stands. It really and truly isn't a very big cake, and the reason I didn't want to make it a big cake, it's an 8-inch cake, and the reason I didn't want to make it a big cake was to show you that it would fit inside of your cake server like this. This is a premium which Swell Frosting Mix would like very much to give you. This is a devil's food cake, and it's frosted with our Swell Frosting Mix, and to this we have added 1/4 cup of cold coffee. So this gives you an opportunity to give it a little mocha flavor. As you know, there are 3 flavors now in your Swell Frosting Mix, and this is the only vacuum-packed frosting mix on the market. I would be very anxious for you to try all 3 of them. The new one is maple, and this is a premium in a beautiful antique white and gold cake saver. And for the small cakes that aren't too high, you can use it this way. For the higher cakes, you can use it this way. This is a $2.95 value. And for $1.75 and your name and address and the little slip that comes inside of the Swell Frosting can. This is it. And if you'll send it to me, I'll see to it that it gets onto the box number, because you'll never remember the box number. $1.75 and your name and address and the Swell piece of paper from the inside of any one of the Swell cans. And we will see to it that you get your cake saver. It's really and truly a very fine one, and I think it's wonderful to know that you have a good-looking thing like this in your kitchen. Another thing that we'd like to, whenever a sponsor says we'd like very much to give you a premium, this is to say thank you for using our product. And so that's what Pink Beauty Salmon, the New England Fish Company, does. Pink Beauty Salmon, when they offer you a chance for you to go to New York, and all you have to do is to clip off this label right here, put your name and address on the back of it, and send it to me, and I will send it on. And if your name's drawn out of the hopper, you get a wonderful trip to New York City with a companion and a lovely suit outfit by Oleg Cassini. So clip off, if you will, the label and put your name and address on the back of it and send it to me, Julie Bunnell, WFAA Communication Center. Also remember that Pink Beauty Salmon is high in protein content and high in fish oil content, which is always good for a low cholesterol diet in case you have that problem at home. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Have a lovely weekend. Drive carefully if you take a trip, if you will, and we'll expect you back Monday at the same time. So until this time, this is Julie Bunnell.
Ray Plagan.
Ed Hogan.
Saying goodbye, you very nice people. Have a happy time. God bless you.
Are you confused? Do you wonder about the high costs of funerals? Investigate Ed C. Smith & Brother Family Security Plan. Ed C. Smith & Brother offers more than burial insurance. Funeral expenses are prearranged and prepaid before the time of need. You determine how much you want to spend on your funeral. $500, $700, $1,000. You select the amount of your weekly, monthly, or yearly payment. For example, under the Ed C. Smith & Brother Family Security Plan, a man 45 selects the $700 funeral. His monthly payment for just 3 years is $14.42. No matter how old you are, there is a plan for you. For further information, call Ed C. Smith & Brother Family Security Plan, Swiss at Haskell, Taylor 42714.
Fritos brand jalapeno bean dip. In the lunchbox, in the lunchbox. Fritos brand jalapeno bean dip. On the coffee table, anytime at all.
Get the little can with the key and the great big can. They're both bargains.
Fritos brand jalapeno bean dip. In a chafing dish, on a tray of dips. Fritos brand jalapeno bean dip. On the dinner table, anytime at all.
Unbelievably nourishing and just real good.
Fritos brand jalapeno bean dip. On a picnic, on a picnic. Fritos brand jalapeno bean dip. For an auto lunch, anytime at all.
Get a cartful. You'll eat them fast, and they're so inexpensive you won't care.
Fritos brand jalapeno bean dip.